Okay, this is just a brief overview of everything you'll be doing in the class. This is all the material you'll be using during the class. I'll go through them right now. So you first thing I want to point out is the lye. The lye is very caustic. It's sodium hydroxide. Do not get this in your eyes. Do not drink it. Do not touch it. It's a strong base. It's very dangerous if you don't treat it right. I might have the lye in a different bottle than um, what was shown there. Probably in a tighter seal bottle. To let the class go more smoothly, I'm going to pre-mix the lye before class, but I'll give you all the measurements in the recipe I will hand out on the day of class. Here are 4 things. There's shea butter, glycerin, lavender oil, and lavender buds. If you wanted orange oil and pumice, that's the option also. You have goggles there. You have to wear goggles. There's a spatula and a spoon to use in your mixing. Here's your soap mold, hand blender you'll be using, and saran wrap to seal the mold. Then the Tupperware to put the mold in. Put the soap mold in as it solidifies. Those are your oils, the base oils, different than the essential oils. You want to melt your base oils, and we're going to mix them thoroughly before we mix the lye into the base oils. You might have a mix of olive oil, palm oil, coconut oil, and canola oil. That's the recipe I'm going to do for now. I'm going to see how that turns out. I might give you different oils for class, but those are probably going to be the ones I'm going to give you. Coconut, palm, olive oil, and canola oil. After you mix it thoroughly, you can set that spoon aside. For now, you'll use it later. Then you're going to get your lye. I have my goggles on when I'm recording this. And you're going to hear, I don't know if you'll hear it or not, but I'm going to pulse the hand blender as I mix in. And you're going to see this hand blenders, they can trap air, so you want to tap it a little bit before you start mixing. You don't want air bubbles in the mixture. So to get all the bubbles out, you just tap it a little bit on the bottom before you start mixing. Then you're going to pulse the hand blender as you're mixing the lye into it, a little bit at a time. Then you're going to put the hand blender on continuously as it mixes. And you can see it's already emulsifying the oils and the lye together. And what we're going to mix until is what we call trace. There could be light trace, medium trace, heavy trace. Trace just tells you that the oils are emulsified with the lye. And there's certain ways you can see that by thickness, how well it's traced, how far along the trace is. So we want to get to a certain thickness before we add the other things. I'd like to do that so the lye is not going to be, the lye can do its job before it starts reacting with what else you might put in. first thing I want to put in is shea butter. You can use your spoon to scoop all the shea butter out of your container. The next thing I have is glycerin. Glycerin also works as kind of a extra moisturizing element to your soap. There's my lavender essential oil. And then I'm going to mix it. If I was doing the orange and pumice, I would mix in the pumice with the hand blender at this step. But I don't want to mix in the lavender buds with the hand blender because I don't want to tear up my lavender buds. They're nice. They look nicer if they're not blended and torn up by the hand blender. So if I had pumice, I would mix it in right now. Lavender buds, I'm going to save till the end. So right now I'm going to get further along to trace. So it's at a medium trace, so I can pour it into my mold. I like to get it further along in the trace without it being too thick, so I can pour it into my mold. Because the further along trace you get it, the faster the reaction takes place. The faster the reaction takes place, the sooner you can take it out of your mold. But this still will take a couple days to take after you pour the batter into the mold. It's going to still take a couple days for it to solidify. But we still get to trace. You can see, if you see the drops of the soap batter, kind of, you can see where they hit on the top of the surface of the batter. That's where you're at trace. It's kind of like almost like a cake batter or pudding kind of consistency. That's where you want to get it to. At this point, I'm going to add in my lavender buds. And I'm going to mix in with my spoon I have on the side. You don't have to add all the lavender buds, but you're going to get a tablespoon worth. So that's how much a tablespoon worth of lavender buds will look like. You might want to add a little less, or if you want, you can mix in half, then save half to sprinkle on top. That might look nice. I'm going to use my rubber spatula to get the rest that's sticking to the side of the container. Then I'm going to put a saran wrap on top of that, so it's not going to pour out too much. The silicone mold is kind of wobbly, so I'm going to put it in this Tupperware container, this plastic container, so it can handle it with a plastic container and not the wobbly, flimsy silicone mold. Then you're going to, of course, put the lid on, and you can take it home like that and wait 4 days. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 days. After 4 days, you can wait longer if you want. This is what it looks like after 4 days. Remove the plastic wrap, and you want to pull on the sides of the mold. That kind of releases the sides of the soap from the mold. Pull on the sides of the mold on either side. Then you're going to want to push from the bottom of the mold. Push from the bottom. Then you're going to pop out the soap. Again, this is after 4 days. You're going to see it's going to be a little sticky. That stickiness, that might change the shape of your soap a little bit. If you want it not to do that, you can take the plastic wrap off and let it sit another 2 or 3 days and solidify more. But this is what it looks like at 4 days. You're going to put it back in your mold, let it sit with the sticky side kind of exposed to dry off. You want to dry off your soap before you use it. It's recommended that you wait at least 4 weeks before you use it. Personally, I've seen it work okay after 2 weeks. You can set it on your countertop in your bathroom or somewhere where it can dry out, and that should be good.